Hello everybody and welcome to the first part of the Netradiant tutorial. What we will be doing in this part is just cover the basics. So this tutorial actually is a follow-up of a written tutorial I did on the preferences on these things. So if you need that, I'll put the link on the screen and in the description. So today we'll be making our first room. Now, you might be wondering, why do I do this setup? You also have a setup where you have a screen for each view. So you have three views, like the XY, the YZ, and the XZ. So I just use it all in one thing. So I have a bigger screen for looking how it completely looks in its full glory, I'd say, and for my textures and just the console. So anyway, enough of that. Let's jump right into it. So how do you start making a room? Well, it's actually pretty simple. You just left click and you can draw. So as you can see, I am just drawing a brush. So I don't let go until I have like the shape I want. So there we go. I can zoom out by scrolling here, and I can turn around with the arrow keys. Now you see that this is actually just a wall, like it's not something you can really stand on. So now we will actually change our view, because I was actually in the wrong view. That's, or was I? No, I was not. Excuse me. No. So now we want to configure how this thing looks. So we actually want to make this a platform where we can stand on. Now how do we do this? Well, you just click outside the side of the box you want to expand or make smaller, I guess, and just drag. So I click here and I can just drag. So you see how this blue blue dot comes up, and that means you're actually editing that side. So I'm not going to make a big room, but whatever. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger over here. Now, as you can see, we now have like this massive cube. Now you might be wondering, why the fuck do we need this to be as tall as that is? Well, you're right, we don't. A platform, you're not going to see the outside anyway for this room that we're going to make today. So I'm just going to go to the YZ coordinates, so that's pretty much how the height you're going to edit. Now, this is way too high for a platform, so you just do like I just told and edit this side and drag it in. Now, you see how small this now really gets, but it's still that platform. So yeah, now, just for purposes only, for no purpose at all, you can move around your brush as well. Well, now it has no purpose yet, but when you go more advanced, it's of course a really handy thing to, if you have like a really complicated map already here, you can just like make something over here and just drag it in. So maybe something important that I also can say is, how do you move like in this screen? So you just pretty much right click and move around with your mouse, and that makes you move around here. Anyway, now we got a platform, but if you compile this, it has no texture yet or anything, so that's also not good. But let's just talk about whether you can actually play on this, because if this was in-game, this texture, it would just be invisible. But you can't play on this. Why not? Because it has no surroundings. How Nexus actually works is, it has to be either a room, or it has to have a sky. Now, what a sky is, I will be covering in a later part. Right now, we're just going to make a room. Now, so if you need a room, you need to make walls. Now, you're still selecting this brush. Now, how do you unselect it? Well, you just press escape, and you will see how this red becomes black. So then you know you're deselected everything. Now, we want to make a wall. Now, how do we do this? It's pretty easy. You just drag again, just like last time, and you see how the walls just show up. Now, I've made it this high. Doesn't matter how high you make it, you'll have to see it in game really. This is going to be a really small room. It might look a little big but that's just because I'm zoomed in a lot. So yeah, this is the first wall. Now we want to have more walls. Now you can do this by going to Edit, Copy, then deselect with Escape, then Edit, Paste. Now we can drag. There we go. We can already drag the tool off. Use the drag tool after all, and you see how this ends up over there. Now we got two walls. That's already great. But as you can see, how do we do these walls? Now, pretty much just you do it like this. You see how I got a wall right there. Now it's just a cube right now. That's why we go to orthographic again and go to XY, and we can just drag the complete thing, the complete brush that is, and just make it match everything else. Now just edit, copy, escape, edit, paste, and drag. There we go, we got a little box. Now we want to have a roof. That's pretty obvious. Now I'm sure you can now guess how to do this. Just drag again, view, orthographic, why is that? Drag, and there we go. Now we can go inside and you can see how this is a little room. Now you can't actually spawn in here yet because we don't have spawns, but before we do that we're going to cover how to texture. Now what I suggest is when you go actually make a map, you just search on the internet for textures. Now for this tutorial I will just be using texture that's already in here. It's some from my maps, some from just maps I have downloaded to have the texture, or just automatically got in here. Because if you have maps downloaded from in-game, it might happen that these textures get added in here. So that's just a thing to think about. Anyway, so we're just going to load up, like for example, E7. I have no idea what textures are in here, but so right here, brick floor sounds great. So how do you select a brush? Now you can select a brush at two ways. The first is shift and left click. But as you can see, that selects the complete brush. Now this is the outside. Why would you want to have that texture loaded on the outside while you can't even see it? This makes the map bigger, first of all, like in size, not in like the view. So that's not good. How do we then just select the inner part here? Well, that's pretty easy. So we just press escape again, and you press Ctrl Shift and click. Now as you can see, the outside isn't loaded, well, isn't selected, excuse me, and the inside is. You see this by the blue dot over here, and it's a little different color. I'll show again, escape, so boom, it's selected. Now you just click the texture, and as you can see, we now have a nice brick floor. Now we need also walls. I have no idea if there are any walls in here. Yeah, let's just use this one. Just some metal. Shift Control click, excuse me, and boom, we have walls. I'll just put in here as well. So there we go. Now we need to spawn. That's obvious. We'll just make this a DM spawn deathmatch. So you just right click in this screen over here, and a lot of stuff shows up. Now you go to Info and click Info Player Deathmatch, and this green box should show up. Now you can drag this around as shown. So the best thing to do is just put it on the floor. That's what I always do. That's what you should do, or you spawn in the air. That's no use. Also, don't put it in a wall. When you have complicated maps, this might sometimes happen that you accidentally put it in a wall because there's so many lines. Make sure you don't do that, because then the spawn is corrupted and you get an error in game and the spawn can't be used. So anyway, you see also this little arrow coming out, right? This pretty much shows which direction the player will look when he spawns. So now you can change that. How do you change that? Well, good question. You can change that by clicking R or rotate. To be honest, I don't really use it. Not this way at least. There are different ways, but for now use this. This can be a little complicated because you have all these circles. Each one kinda represents, like for example Y. Can't really use that right now. The X, I can turn around with this, but I don't like using it, so there we go. When you just want to go back to resizing, just press Q or click over here, and that's it. Now, we'll just add one spawn for now. Now, what's a deathmatch without weapons, right? So, left click again, then go to item. Oh, those are the, I mean the health and stuff. A weapon is of course with weapons. So here you get all your weapons. Now, adding a laser is useless. Most servers have a default. So let's add, for example, the rocket launcher. Now, you'll see that the actual rocket launcher shows up. Now, why would we have that in the air exactly? So we just drag it down so it's kind of floating but not really on the ground. So yeah, now we press escape again and that should be done. Now, the bad part about this map for now is that it will be really dark. So this can be helped by just right clicking, clicking light. Now a light will show up. The light intensity. Now, to be honest, there's no really good light intensity. You have to play around with that a bit. I'll just for now put 1000. That will be bright enough. I'll put it in the middle, kinda. You can also you can change more things about this. I'll cover that in another tutorial, like color and such. That's for now, leave it white. Now, a room is done, and you think, okay, this is it. Sit back, let's go watch some TV. I don't know. No, you have to still build the map, compile it, whatever. So what do you do first? Well, what I personally do is use first the BSP. You have to do that. So just click it, and then you'll see that, oh yeah, you have to save your map. Didn't save it yet. So I hope I covered the where you have to save it in the written tutorial. I don't really remember. If I didn't, be sure to write it in the comments. I will explain where to save it. So anyway, let's just now call it tutorial 1. Save. As you can see, a little box shows up, then it goes back to here, some shit is loading, saving, compiling, whatever. And if this shows up, connection closed, then it's done. Now, this isn't done yet. Now it's just a really bright map. Even if you didn't have a light, it would be bright as hell. It's ugly, it's not good, the texture will look a bit odd. So what I do is always do a light, high quality, medium or low quality. Now if you do a high quality, this will take longer. Of course with this small of a map, not. But if you have bigger maps, this might take a few hours to completely compile. Maybe even days. I've heard about one that it took a month to compile completely. So anyway, as you can see, this one was really quick. Now, this is done. I will now stop the recording real quick and go into Nexus and show you what we have made actually. See you then. Okay, so we are in game now. How do I check my map? There are two possibilities. First one is to open the console and type map tutorial 1 and press enter. This will load it. Or another way is just to go to create DM. It should be in here, as you can see. Sometimes if you, for example, make a capture the flag map, it's possible that you just have to add some mutators like grappling hook and mystic gap, and then it will show up. As you can see, now a lot of my other maps show up, but that's whatever. Let's now go to our tutorial map, As you can see, it's loading, and let's see how it looks. Yeah, my PC is slow when I'm recording, so don't bother it. Okay, so here we are. There might have been a little... Alright, shit. I have the mutate version still. My bad. No start. Alright, let's do that again. My bad. Alright, there we go. Boom! This is our little room. We have the rocket launcher here. As you can see, it's really small. You can shoot around a bit, kill yourself, whatever. That's whatever you want to do. But yeah, that's it. As you can see, the textures are a bit weird. Now, why that is, I'm not sure. I've never really used that texture, but whatever. You have to play around with the texture. I mostly don't even use those because they're basic and they're useless. Anyway, I hope you guys picked up something in this first tutorial, drawing your first map, whatever. And in the second part, I will probably be covering a lot more fun stuff. This is kind of the boring stuff. But yeah, see you then if you make it there. Bye. Okay, so I said I didn't know why this texture isn't loaded correctly. Right when I ended the recording, I figured like, oh, you stupid vega. The texture isn't nice looking because my video settings in the game are very low. Now if you put these higher, this will show up nicely. I have textures on a really shitty setting, so they look a little bit blurry. Well, a little bit, they just look like dirt. But so yeah, just so you know, for you this might look a lot better. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Bye bye.